Welcome to Awaken the Minds. I'm Monica.
And I'm Mikael. Together, we're your guides on this journey of exploration and awakening.
Here on Awaken the Minds, we dive deep into the mysteries of life and beyond, from spirituality and reincarnation
to marriage, personal growth, and the secrets of the universe. And yes, we'll even talk about aliens.
Because let's face it, the truth is out there, and so is the love and wisdom we all need to evolve. So whether you're seeking answers or just curious about the unseen forces shaping our reality,
you found your tribe and the vibes.
So let's awaken the minds together.
Welcome back, guys, to Awaken the Mind. We hope everybody's having an amazing day. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Here on the pod, we strive and work to bring you guys new content and help enlighten and awaken one soul at a time. We hope to bring knowledge, insight into our spiritual journey, and we hope to enhance spiritual consciousness in the world. If you guys are new or returning, please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, and across all of our social media platforms at awakentheminds.com. That is AW8KINTH3MIND5.podcast. And, we appreciate your support and help with the algorithm to help and pay this forward and awaken one soul at a time. You guys bless up. Let's keep the earth strong. And as always, I'm your host, Mikael. This is my wife, Monica.
Hello.
And today we have a very special guest with us. We have a loving, caring, compassionate, passionate person joining us on the pod today. We hope her story will help reach those who can not only relate, but find themselves in one way, shape, or form in a similar scenario as she has, and can take some of her knowledge to overcome and move forward as she has, like a rising phoenix. She is a holistic esthetician. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
I have a little list, so
Sure, buddy. you keep going.
so if you guys hear this, my little lips kick on, don't worry about that. Yeah, she's a holistic esthetician that is on a mission to help and serve as many beautiful souls in this world in the most genuine and authentic way. She's originally from Huntington Beach, California, but grew up most of her life here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So technically, she's a native here in Nevada. And she has embarked on her journey of self-discovery, growth over the years. It wasn't always sunshine and rambles for her, but we hope to dive deep into her journey of exploration. She has faced and overcame many very dark periods in her journey. But on the other side, she has been able to embody different holistic techniques that help transform her life and strives to now be able to do that for others and share her knowledge. Please help us in welcoming our very good friend, Carissa.
Super exciting stuff.
All right. Welcome
Super
on the pod,
excited to be here with
Carissa.
you guys.
You better be.
Chilling with the homies.
If not, you gotta go back outside and feel excited.
We need you to shift your energy.
Yeah, I know.
It's here, guys.
It's cool.
Let's
It's
go.
vibrating.
Yes.
Welcome, Carissa. Thank you for joining us on the pod today.
Thank you for your time.
Mhm.
Because even time is not real, but at the same time, we work as time, and we
In this
appreciate your
3D
time,
realm.
and
Yeah.
we appreciate your
Nature.
presence, and we appreciate you for just being you and being here and sharing your story. And we hope little by little this inspires people, and maybe you might inspire somebody to do what you do, and from there we make connections. But yeah, how are you both doing?
Well, Carissa, how are
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing great.
Great,
Just excited to be here and hang out with you guys.
like
Yeah.
always. Yeah,
I'm doing good too. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm thriving. I'm living.
It's been a wild start of the year, huh?
Yeah, 2025.
Mhm.
It's been a 9 for sure for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
We have faced so many hurdles internally, externally, partner wise, relationship wise. And that's not only as your partners, but also relationships with friends, and just kind of, it's a year to really reflect who we want in our lives, because once it turns into a 1, those are new beginnings. So you
Mhm.
either,
Got to establish those
yeah,
new things you want in life.
Yeah, because a one, it's gonna establish that energy we're putting in today. So either we establish and we make a good realm out of it, or it's gonna carry on to a one, and that one is gonna make you do a new beginning, and it's gonna keep teaching you those lessons. But it's been a rough 2025.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
only been 1 month.
I know.
2 months.
2 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The snake year started a month
been a wild
ago.
ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the snake year did start,
A month ago.
but the 9 hit. The moment it said number 1, number 9, bitches. Oh yeah, no, it was. It's been tough. I mean, a lot of changes
Mm-hmm.
that we're all constantly going through. I got fired from my job.
But see, that's just opening up another door. For
Oh,
you to do things that
100%.
you've been
Yeah.
ready for, but the
Exactly.
universe
So
is pushing you.
I think it was necessary. I think it was necessary for me to get fired. And I know I wasn't a bad employee, and I'm not a bad employee, and I'm not a bad worker. But I think at this point in life, just like a 9, it really wants us to focus on a new experience of our journey. It really wants us to open up what we say we are. It's no longer, I honestly believe that this year, it's no longer like, oh, you say you do this and you say you do that. I think now it's like, are you really doing the walk that you talk about?
Yeah, are you embodying?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's what it's doing. And I think this year is definitely going to, I think it's really going to see if you're all about the talk. And it really is going to show shit that you need to work on no matter what.
Yep.
Like, you really, and that goes for me, and that goes for him, and that goes for you. Like,
For
that
everybody.
goes for all of us, because,
This 9 is for humanity.
yeah. And it's really like either you're going to continue a race that you don't want to continue, or you're going to continue a different race,
Mhm.
and that race is either evolving your spirit or staying the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to stay the same. So it's going to be a lot of battles, because as partners and as friends, it's going to be everybody's responsibility to really call each other out on our shit.
So true.
Yeah, like it's this year's all what it is about. Just calling everybody out on their shit, because
Start shifting those bad habits. We're human beings. We're not perfect. We're not born perfect. But it's just one of those things where you need to recalibrate life, pretty much. Recalibrate yourself to a higher conscious, and we're either gonna elevate to reach that next step in life, or that next dimension, whatever you want to call it, the next evolution in life, or we're gonna stay behind.
Mhm.
what about you? How's the 9 treating you?
It's been an interesting start to the year.
You're like,
But I just feel like in business, it's like, and with clients, self-reflection and the journey, like, especially in the healing world too, it's like we really have to look at situations and self-reflect and see where we could be better in every situation. Cause I feel like a lot of people play like the victim card and they can't see both sides, and it's only their side. And it's just like, it's so low vibrational,
Yeah.
So I feel like even last year it started for me, but it's like, as I take this journey, this growth journey, spiritually and in business, it's like there's a lot that I've let go of, and there's a lot where I'm like, man, like even through breath work and stuff, where I'm like, it's like I reflect back on these moments. I'm like, I have to work on that. Like, and then it's like from my childhood, it's like, oh, this happened to me. So this is why I'm like this with these situations, But I think for a lot of people, that's hard to do. It's like, nobody wants to do that or like admit that they're wrong. But
yeah. For as you mentioned, when you do breath work, what was something that showed up to you that you like kind of like flipped a switch?
So, last year I had a miscarriage, and I wanted to, before we started trying again, I knew that I needed some deep healing. And one of my girlfriends, Jody Joy, she hosts breathwork retreats, and then she also does a certification. So I decided to sign up for the cert. I went, and when I got there, it was like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, I want to turn around, fly back home, and I just don't want to deal with anything, But by day 2, I had experienced the breath, and it literally shifted something huge in me. I reflected back on my childhood and, my relationship with my mom. And I discovered that I felt that I was never really loved while I was in the womb, which sets the record for your whole life. Your relationships, who you decide to pick as a partner, becoming a parent, So I had all this trauma in my body that I needed to release, and it was hard. I cried. We do the screaming technique through the breath work, and it was like, there was just so much that I released through my body in realization.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's, one thing I've never been able to do is scream. I can't.
Really?
Like,
my client was just telling me this yesterday, and I'm like, I did it on the way here, actually. I was like doing my breath work and like screaming. I'm like, okay, I got to pump myself up. This is like my routine before the podcast.
I can't. Like,
have you ever done it before?
I've done it a couple of times, but it's so uncomfortable for me.
I think it's how you see it. Like, when I yell, like, I'm like, woo! Like, that's me yelling. That's like,
no, like me, it's like, my demons.
It doesn't have to be angry, but I think like when you do it, you should think of something that's been held in your body that you
want to release.
Yeah.
It's always hard for me because I've obviously through my healing journey of spiritualism, when I was doing a lot of the little girl, like my inner child work, my lady would tell me, scream. Like, maybe you just need to scream. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I really don't need to scream. Like, it's just that, I don't know.
But see, that resistance is telling you something.
Yeah. And I know where it comes from. And I know that to me, when someone screams or whatever the case is, it frightens me. It's my fear because I grew up in a very loud household. Like my parents were just loud in general. They were always screaming all the time, and it's not, it's
like a trigger for you.
I guess so, because as soon as somebody would like raise their voice, I knew it was going to be something traumatic that was going to happen. So the way that I would handle things, it was like, let's not scream, but then they will make me scream. So to me, like, screaming has like a negative reflection for me. And I'm still working on it, but
even just that realization that you got from why you're not able to do it,
but I still have a hard time screaming. Like when people are like screaming, I'm like, no, thank you. I think I want to do that.
Yeah. You do a lot of laughter though, which I feel like is a release, and you help others laugh too, which is like one of my favorite things when we're together.
You got to be something, right? Either you're ugly or you're funny. I can't be both. So I gotta be funny.
Beautiful and funny.
You mentioned when you were going to your first sound healing ceremony, you say you had like a victim mentality going into it at first, like you were struggling to be there, to make yourself want to be there.
Yeah.
Can you describe, and in your own words, you don't have to if you don't want to. We're not forcing you to, open up if something is very uncomfortable for you. But what kind of thoughts, I guess, were you having going into it, like as a victim mentality, and what did you do to overcome that?
So like before I got there, okay, so I think I was excited when I initially got there, but then when I first showed up and we all sat down and we had to introduce ourselves, and then some of the work that we had to do, which was like, you team up with a stranger there and you have to eye gaze and look into the stranger's eyes and like talk about what you see or feel about them. And that made me really uncomfortable. And it's interesting because later on, the person that I was partnered with, I found out like what her story was and what she was there for was like a trigger inside of me. And so with that, like once I did the breath work, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I really felt like the universe brought everybody there and partnered everybody together so they could work, like almost mirror
Like
what
a
you
mirror,
need to
yeah, like
work
a
on.
reflection.
That's
Mhm.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Damn. So we're like, I want to beat your ass, but
Yeah.
but I don't know why. Now I know why.
But it's so those exercises like that are like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, and you have to do it in front of all these people. But it's like, after you do that, it's like, wow, I just accomplished that. And I like, now I know I could do something like that again,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's
and being
beautiful.
vulnerable in front of strangers, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard.
I think
but-
that's better though, doing it with a stranger. Because I feel as you do it with like family, friends, I feel like, I don't know. To me, it just feels like it's more uncomfortable
Mhm.
versus doing it with a stranger because you're like, oh, I don't know this person. I probably won't see him, next week.
Right.
I'll forget his name or whatever.
Yeah.
But with somebody that you see, daily or whatever family situation is going on, but I feel like it's just more easier with the stranger to, I guess, like do those stuff like that, like visual and breath work and kind of like open up to a stranger.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And it's funny how you'll connect with
Mhm.
like something will remind you of that person's like maybe a family member or something. It's wild how the universe does that. And then it's like more healing and you may become friends afterwards,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That exercise always reminds me of constellations.
Mhm.
Mm.
It reminds
Oh,
me so much
yeah.
of constellations because I feel that at the end of the day, when you do stuff like that, everybody's channeling something and we
Mm.
don't realize it. And we're channeling deep wounds that we are oblivious to,
Yeah.
honestly. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's literally like a constellation because I'm pretty sure,
That is such a good way of like,
yeah, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure you walked out of it and you felt 10 times better.
Yeah.
And you felt like you didn't have to go to therapy because you felt like you did like 10 years of therapy just sitting there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's like a constellation to
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
Like to me, that's like somebody is embodying something unconsciously and they don't even know it.
Mhm.
It's crazy. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And in that sound journey that you did, you said that it
Breath work.
or breath work
Mhm.
sound is the same thing.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No,
breath.
different.
Okay.
Oh, I
Maybe
know.
different.
You know what? You know what? Let's take a 5.
But do you feel when you got there? You said you were having a hard time, working with the other person. As far as like, you said it's more like a mirror, right? Like a reflection.
Mhm.
Was it like you had like a, I wouldn't say problem, but like yeah, like
Unresolved issues?
no, like self doubt within yourself to like look at yourself as better. Is that like what was like triggering you to want to turn around, or like when someone looks at you, like you felt like nervous, or like maybe they're like judging you in a way?
Possibly. Yes. Okay. Cause it was 2 days and the first you're with a different partner each day. So I would say the first partner that I was partnered up with was triggered like by an experience that we had both had similarly. And then with the eye gazing, my partner actually reminded me of my mom. So that was definitely like intimidating for me. So immediately, like both of us were crying, and it's like some people laugh. It's like just like it's crazy. We don't ever just look into people's eyes and
Look
just
into their soul.
and
Yeah.
not talk, and so yeah. I'm like, I don't want to get emotional talking about it.
It's okay. No, I mean, it's because I do believe that the eyes are the window to the soul.
Mhm,
I can literally read people by just looking at their eyes
mhm.
because it says so much in their
Mhm.
eyes.
Yeah.
I can literally look at somebody and be like, damn. Like I literally
Like you almost
Yeah.
can like read their story,
Yes.
almost, right? Like,
yes, and you feel it and you
Mhm.
like I don't know. I've always been big on looking in people's eyes and I'm not very much of a how do I say? When I first meet people, I like to look at their eyes. That's just how I am.
Mhm.
And for me, that gives me if that's somebody that I would like to keep around or somebody that I wouldn't want to keep around,
Mhm.
you know?
Because it tells you a lot. Like there's some things where words don't always speak louder, right? And sometimes it's just look.
I was just going to say, even there's a book, Chinese facial mapping, and it's like by people's expressions or
Mhm.
wrinkles that you can like tell what they're thinking or what their mindset is or what
That's
type of person they are.
Yeah.
I got a lot
I
of
think
wrinkles
I've-
in my forehead, so what does that mean?
Thinker,
Mm.
creativity. So you need to open up
Ah.
and do more creative things so that way this
They can
relaxes.
go away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got this. I think I'm on the right
You're
path.
on your journey right now, so.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I'm like, what else do I got? What else do I need to work on? That makes sense. Oh, that's so cool.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I also like how you went into a reflection of what you were saying about like childhood trauma and not feeling love when you were in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe a lot of humanity doesn't understand that often things that we feel and go through in life comes down to like that is what was passed down to us from birth.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate like what it was for you? And you don't have to get into detail, but what it was for you that you feel was passed down to you as far as like the trauma and all of that within the womb.
Well, this is so interesting because I did my Reiki session with you guys a couple months ago. And this was where I like went into more in depth of these emotions or
Mhm.
remembering, you know. And then I spoke with my mom the other day actually. So it's like it's all connected now. But you know, she was very young when she got pregnant with me. And right away there were things where it was like, you know, my dad's side of the family was like, oh, you know, she's not yours. And you know, when babies are being created, they are feeling all of those emotions from the
Yeah.
mother. So, you know, my mom was young. She hid me from her parents for a long time. So it was like this secret, you know, up until she was about to have me was when, you know, everybody kind of found out. But I felt during our sessions, you know, wow, there was like, I just felt unloved in there. Like nobody wanted me to be here. So I was already feeling those
That's so
emotions
sad.
before I even got here. And then my mom, when I talked to her the other day, she was like, you know, I just thought I had this realization the other day that I never was hugged as a kid.
That breaks me heart.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And I told her like I told her a little bit because I didn't want to upset her, but I'm just like, and then that carried on because I'm like, even when I first met my stepdaughter, it was like, she would love to hug me. And like, and I just was like, I would kind of like, you know, a little bit
Freeze
at the
up.
beginning. It took me a while to warm up. And now it's like, and Jay's the same way. Like they're just loving words of affirmation, you know? So, but that, like hearing her say that, I was like, wow, because we've had a tough go at our relationship.
That's
you
so
know?
crazy because I feel that in that aspect, you and Miguel are very similar.
Mm,
You know, because when we first started dating, he was very like not affectionate like that. Like he was more of like a gifter. I love gifts, but I'm not somebody that needs gifts.
Mhm.
But I am very big on words of affirmation and I'm very big on like hugs and touch and like kisses because my parents have always been like that. Like my parents could like fight today and we would all be fighting and squaring up, but but tomorrow or even in hours we'll be like, I love you, I'm sorry, like hug, kiss, like literally that's how my family is.
Yeah.
And
It's not from boxing to MMA to wrestling and then hug each other.
yeah, like it really was. But to me it was like that security was a hug. Hey, I love you. You're doing great. He's still learning. He still is not 100 at it, but he has gotten so much better because he would freeze. Like he would just be like, like I remember I would like give him like, cause my mom when we would wake up or whatever, like she was a person that would like grab us and she would like kiss us everywhere and she like, I love you. Like, you know, like my mom was always loving and like I think about it now that I'm like that I was younger
Mhm.
and I was such an angry child and I would just like push her away. And I would just be like, dude, like leave me the fuck alone type of thing, you know? And now I'm like, damn, that's such a bitch move. Like, what an asshole, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was also going through a lot. You know, my parents had gotten separated and whatever. But my mom, if I can remember, my mom, like I have those attributes of my mom, you know. The moment I deny anybody of my family is the moment I deny myself, you know, because we all carry something. And as much as we're like, oh, I'm not like her, we start seeing a lot of things like them. And we're like,
And it's surprising where if you communicate with your family on these things, you could both heal together.
yeah.
You know?
But it's hard when both one family does not want to heal. It's really hard. And I don't say it in my aspect. I say more of like his aspect.
Yes. Like we have this conversation all the time, and I tell her, I was like, sometimes people can't see past their nose.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and if they can't see past their nose, there's really nothing that you say or do that's gonna change anything that they see. And you know, it's kind of like what I tell her. I was like, you know, my family's kind of like set on their ways, and it is what it is. You know, I love them for who they are. That's who they are, and you know, I accept them. You know, that's all I can do. I can try and implement like something to change, but
acceptance. But I feel like we can still share some little seeds
like
with them. They may not get it right away, but I still believe that because my brother will be like, oh, you know, just they are who they are. And I'm like, I think we should still have faith and like keep giving them, even though they may not respond to it. I think over time, eventually
they will.
Yeah,
I think so too.
So wait, I have a question about the love languages. Do you guys feel like I craved for physical touch or whatever?
Yeah.
But so I think that like in the womb or whatever, but it's like, do you think that when people want that's like what they were missing in the right?
Yeah.
Like even though it makes you like, because it made me feel uncomfortable, but then that's what I was craving. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, no, I can say yeah, because he was kind of like a gifter, and to me it was kind of like, oh, what is that? You know.
But really, did you want like, and then did you want like affection from her?
Yeah. So for me, my first love language is time, and you know, reflecting on what you said, that you know, growing up and then passing down from the womb, I feel that like my family never really gave us time. So I think that's why a big thing for me is time, like quality time.
Yeah.
Like spending time together, and then you know the rest follows. But for me, a big thing is always quality time. And you know, reflecting on it, I believe it's because I never received that as a child, especially from your family and your loved ones. So that was my thing that I guess I was always missing. So that's why, like for me, that's like my first love language. And then it could be for you, maybe you said
mine is like
physical touch.
Physical touch. Yeah.
And it was probably because maybe you never received that physical touch.
And the hug from my mom. Like it's just weird how it's like that can be like, it's just so wild.
But you didn't even answer her question. She said, do you feel like you wanted my affection? That you needed my affection?
Yeah.
I think we kind of all need all of them.
Yeah.
Way, like, you know.
And we always have this conversation, and I always tell her, I was like, I believe we always attract, you know, the opposite, your partner, or you know, whoever you're with, or even friends and family. We always attract those that we're missing something from.
Yes.
100%.
Whether it's love, words of affirmation, physical touch, like whatever we're missing, like we attract those unconsciously.
It's so wild because now it's like, okay, I've been through some relationships, married and divorced, and it's like I have way more wisdom now and understanding, and I'm like, wow, I wish I would have known at a younger age. Because I mean, I'm grateful for the journey, but it's just like if I would have had that knowledge and awareness.
So much time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with relationships, because there's so many people out there on these dating apps, and like, you know, it's like you got to do the inner work first if you're trying to attract. Just stop wasting your time going on all these like dating apps, you know?
Pointless dates. Most of them, more than half of them are pointless. They're pointless. Y'all are just trying to get your nut off, and that's it. Like, it really
I believe once we do the inner work, then we can attract
100%.
our people, you know?
Yeah, you always have to have like when we started dating and first got together and you know started conversating, we set those intentions at first.
Oh yeah, no, I sat down on the table and I was like, what do you want? I literally like he had invited because I mean, one, he was friends with my brothers.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck does he want? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was already over like the dating phase. I was over all of that. I was really just focusing on myself. And when he had invited me out for breakfast, I was just kind of like,
I love that you invited her for breakfast too, because that is very like,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, okay, this guy is serious.
Yeah.
Breakfast, no
Yeah.
drinks or like dinner, you know?
Exactly. So I was like, okay, breakfast.
I'm not big on dinners.
He's not big on dinners. He's
I got
big on
French
breakfast.
toast. That's all I need.
He loves fucking breakfast. Yeah, no. And so then when I had sat there, like, I think I kind of threw him off because I think he never had met somebody that was just kind of like, you know, I just say it how it is. And I've always been
With that booty.
Exactly.
Let's not talk about that.
It was fat. No, but you know, and so then I had told him, I was just kind of like, I sat with him and I was like, we had ordered our food, and then I had told him, I'm like, so what do you want? And he kind of like gave me like that look where he was like, oh fuck, like, and I'm like, no, like seriously, what do you want? Like, do you just like want to fuck around? Do you like? Because I'm not down to fuck around anymore. Like, I'm really just looking for my husband. I'm looking to settle down.
Yeah.
And I was super young. Like, once again, I was like 22, but I had already gone through so much, you know, with my mom taking care of my little sister and just kind of doing all of that. So I just really wasn't ready to just keep fucking around. Like, I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna
You knew what you
focus.
wanted.
Yeah, like I just gonna focus on myself. And so then after that, we kind of like sat there for like hours until they kicked us out because it was like around COVID.
I love that.
So then we were like kind of just talking about like, well, I want this and I want that, and I was like, okay, like we can try this out and see if it works out, you know, but if it doesn't, then you're like, you don't have to like stick around, you know. And so then after that, it's been history ever since then. He's still here.
Do that.
Vibey couple.
Yes. Yeah, no,
No, but
definitely.
reflecting on what you're saying is, I believe a lot of us have to grow up fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've been through something in your childhood. You know, obviously, I know what you've gone through in your childhood. You know what I've gone through in my childhood. And technically, it's like we didn't really have a childhood because we had to start thinking already as an adult.
Yeah.
Just a little reflection from what I got from what you were saying.
But
And they say ages like 0 to 8 is when, you know, a child's brain is pretty much molded like
mhm.
that. Those are the most important years with your child, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I can remember from 0 to 8, I can swear to you, I remember crossing the border. I remember, and I was 1.
Really?
Yes, I remember crossing the border. I remember crying for my mom. I remember my dad getting abusive with my mom. I remember my mom cheating on my dad. I remember so much from all of it. And I remember like my mom telling me that my little sister wasn't from my dad. I remember like, you know, and I was a kid and I'm like, and I'm understanding all of this and I'm like, oh, like
We're so, the third eye, pituitary is so open at those
yes,
ages.
Yes.
You know?
And then like, that's what people say when people have kids and they say, oh, he doesn't know what's going on. I'm like,
They know.
They know.
they know more than what you think. I can remember half of my life at those ages.
And that's where like trauma starts too for a lot of us, you know, a lot of us growing up, especially if you have a rough childhood, because you're seeing all these things and I don't know how it was like for you guys growing up, but like in my household, it was kind of like, just be quiet. It is what it is. Move on.
Mm.
And
So already your experience and emotions are being shut down. You
Yeah.
can't talk about what you need to talk about,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
and like my family's not really big on communication. They're not big on affection,
Mm-mm.
words of affirmation. Like 5 love languages doesn't exist in our
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I started coming around, I kind of like taught them how to be a little more.
Mhm.
Because I would grab his mom and I would like give her a kiss in the cheek because that's just what we do. And I'll be like, oh, hi. And I'll kiss. And she'll be like, she'll do the same thing as him. She'll like kind of like freeze.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, oh, hi. you know, like,
But then you just keep on doing that, and
Yeah.
it will warm them. Like
that's what I
it's like
you
the
know.
movie Soul.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that movie. But what do you think at your age, at the age of 0 to 8, how you said, um, really has brought you to the part that you're at right now in your life, like from your career to your relationships to everything. What do you think from your 8-year-old self, even younger, has the advice that they have, well, she has given you to now? What advice did she give you that you have been like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do? Like
like a good advice.
yeah, like what is something that you feel that your 8-year-old self, because you've done the work, so you've met your younger self before.
Mhm.
What is an advice that you had taken from her to now that you're an adult?
I would say, like almost like an unconditional love. So even though somebody has deeply hurt you, that there should always be forgiveness in your heart.
That's a good one.
I like that.
I really like that.
I think this world we're living in right now has kind of forgotten that, because especially with all the the music industry, where it's just all the low vibrational music that's just throwing hate on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter, man, woman, child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really blocks a lot of our consciousness to be able to raise it. One, two, the frequencies that it throws out, it disrupts our physical form and our souls. It's just not a really good collaboration.
No, the nervous system, and it's intentionally put out there
Yeah.
for that reason, to keep us at a low
100%.
vibration.
100%. What about
TV,
you?
all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. Like it does that, and that's why I don't know. That's why I don't watch TV.
The more aware you get, you're like,
Watch it.
even old movies when we were kids, I'm like,
What?
what kind of message is that?
That's what I was doing.
Even like, okay, the prince, it's like, we were always like, that's why we had so many expectations at our generation, because we're like, this prince is supposed to come here and save the day and take care of us.
I was like, bro, I was watching Cinderella. And I was like, this bitch went with the first guy. She bet on a ball. Not only that, but she was at 12 a.m. What the fuck was she doing at 12 a.m.? This bitch was probably like 15 years old. Should have been sleeping.
Exactly.
What are you doing? Like, and then like they got married, and I'm like, how old were they? Probably like what, 15? It's because they're all based on true stories.
Yeah.
They're all based on true stories. And I'm like, no wonder. Like, you think like, oh, my high school sweetheart, I get married the first time around.
Exactly.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
I meant to stay with this guy forever. I'm like, no. Like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Yeah, it really triggers me.
Yeah,
Like,
I realized that at a very young age. I was like, we all need to experience life.
yeah.
And if you're still with the the person that you first got with, you first met, that you stay with them forever, props to you guys. But this is the reason why, humanity, its divorce rate is higher than couples together.
Mm-hmm.
Is because we go into relationships super young, and we're not taught at a young age to understand, one, how to be loved, how to love ourselves and our love languages. And we just go off, we go based off of what we're taught at home. And we think that that's normal. That's how life is, or that's how, even in a relationship, we see our parents would believe, oh, that's like the perfect relationship. That's how it's always supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Or the opposite too. Some people are in very abusive relationships because they saw that when they were younger and they think that's normal, or,
yeah.
What's something that well, first, what do you think your younger self, the advice your younger self has given you at this age of your life? Like, what have you learned from your younger self?
To accept. Accept what comes your way. There's going to be millions of things that you're not going to be prepared for. And in order to continue to move forward, you just have to accept them, take the punches, and keep going.
That's like, stay hard.
That's
Like,
a tough one for me.
That is tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's tough.
but it's
I mean,
beautiful.
I've been
It's
through
important.
different things, so for me, it's always been, life's gonna come at you in random times.
Yeah,
You just have to
clearly.
accept.
Yeah.
This 9.
And the more we try to vibrate higher, it's like we're going to be tested,
Oh,
you know?
100%. It's just gonna drag us by our feet.
Mhm.
But since you mentioned that you've been in a married relationship, what's something that really taught you from that relationship that you'll never accept again? And what was there anything that maybe you feel like there was growth that you wish you had now that could have probably made it a little last longer? Or do you feel like you just would have never because that person also wouldn't put their part in? And you don't have to answer, but
I think that, gosh, it's like, so we were together 10 years and, we were very in love when we first met. And we were very young also, though.
How old were you?
I didn't even know, well, 25.
you're still pretty young.
Yeah. And I didn't know, like, I was still out partying with friends, drinks, like go out to eat. That was important for me, like hang out and like feel accepted by friends and stuff. And it's like, we moved back here. He finished school and then was working. And, I started discovering myself. Went to the sound healing. I was at a very low point where I did not love myself at all, nor did I even know how to start loving myself. And I lost myself in that relationship. And looking back on it through the journey, I wanted to go to therapy together. And, he did not. But I started seeing, I was like, oh, this is why I'm like this. That's why he's like that. And like, these are parents' things that we're like brought in together, And I was like, I don't want to raise kids with this person or like keep doing these cycles or patterns. So it's like, it's going to be scary, but I got to like do what's right for me right now. And I learned, our coach Talia was the one that I had met at my lowest when I walked into the gym. And she really helped me a lot learn how to love myself again.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody really plays a part on our journey. And we don't even realize it at the moment, but we really do need everybody. And when we think that we can elevate by ourselves, that's our ego speaking. And that's our how do I say it? What is that word? Not knowledge, but that is our not only our ego, I don't know, but it's our ego speaking.
Yeah.
And it's obviously us being oblivious to it and thinking that we're doing all this work by ourselves, but really everybody's dropping their seeds and like helping us elevate.
Yep.
Because you cannot elevate by yourself.
No.
You can't. There we go. The word is ignorant. If you think you're going to be able to elevate by yourself, then you're the biggest ignorant in the world.
Yeah.
Let's pause.
It's a tribe.
Carissa, can you describe to our viewers what a holistic esthetician is? And before you answer, I want to give a brief description of what it is, but I know a definition and doing something physically can always be two different things. So what I have found of what a holistic esthetician is a skincare professional who uses holistic approach to beauty and wellness. They consider the mind, body, and spirit to be interconnected and believe that the skin health is affected by more than just skin itself. Would you
Very, very nice.
Would you agree to that, or would you say there's much more than just that definition?
It is definitely all of those things, but I think it's a journey. Like for me, it's like holistic esthetician at the beginning was like organic products. I would do chakra alignment, some crystals, but I didn't really understand it yet. So I think it's just become a journey of embodiment myself. Because it's just like hairstylists or any other service, people come to you and they have stuff going on and they come to you as a safe space. And now I've embodied the work and I have the tools. I've done other certifications that now I'm able to help on a deeper level.
Right.
So holistic, I feel like healthy ingredients topically, but then also the skin tells us a lot of what's going on internally in the body. So Bare Skin Beauty really represents glowing from the inside out, healing what's going on inside so we can be our best versions externally.
Right. And you say that it's a lot of the skin healing is healing from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
What have you discovered, doing the profession that you do that affects the skin the most?
I think it's a little bit of everything. If I'm really being honest with what I've seen over the years, it's what we're putting in our bodies. It's what's our internal dialogue daily. What are we exposing ourselves to? Are we breathing? Are we taking time out of our day to breathe and just sit in silence? So I think it's not one size fits all. Every client is different.
Yeah.
And it's kind of starting from the core, from the seed of it, and really dialing in what people could focus on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of almost like, seeing like hair, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us start seeing like white hairs and we think it's due to age, but a lot of people don't know that it comes down to nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
One, nutrition, stress, mental alignment, which also can cause, white hairs to form because we're not nourishing our body in the most positive or, the most positive way. So I guess in a sense to how you describe that, everything starts from the inside out and how that's what affects a lot of our skin.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can relate sort of to that.
Oh yeah. Like once I started cutting things out, like especially with diet, I will say that's a huge deal. Like once I started cutting processed foods out, and everybody wants these microwave results with everything, the gym, with food, diet, all of that. But it's like, at least give yourself 4 months to a year pretty much, because it's like, once you cut these things out, like alcohol for me, I don't really ever drink, but when I do now, or if I have processed foods, my skin breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
If my hormones are out of whack around that time of month, I'll break out. But now I know certain teas or certain foods that I can eat that will help minimize that and regulate it a little bit better.
Yeah.
What teas do you recommend for somebody that drank one night and and they're trying to like rebalance themselves?
Well, for sure, bone broth. And then I would say marigold flower, chamomile, lavender, any of those calming ingredients that help with inflammation in the body.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
For our viewers, how many years have you been doing what you do with holistic skincare? And how have you perfected it in your way?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's coming close to like 9 years now. I don't think I've perfected it yet. I don't really think that there's like, we can ever really be perfect at something. So I feel like I am forever a student and will always be learning. And I want to be the best version so I can really be able to help people in this life.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true, because we are students to the world.
Yeah.
And we're every day.
Mm-hmm. And then once I like how you say that you're always willing to learn and be the student, because one of my beliefs is the moment that we think we know it all is the day we stop growing mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like deep hearted to me, because we really are a student. We don't know the answers to everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to come a time and place where you don't know the answers to something that's going on, but maybe somebody else, I wouldn't say they have the answer, but maybe someone else has been through it, and then you can take that advice and morph it with how to make it work for you.
Yeah, I think there's always something to learn from others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like today we've learned a lot from each other.
I know.
Just like literally sitting here on the table,
Seriously.
stories that you probably didn't know, or backgrounds that you are now understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very big talker. Like when I first met you, I've always been a big talker, but I feel that most of my darkest times you have gotten to know as we become friends and we become more like family.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for me, like those dark spots are very sacred, because if you know my dark spots, you know how to get to me,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, it's like, do I really want, are you going to use it against me? You know what I mean? But even
Yeah.
if you know that nobody can use it against you,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's so beautiful how you kind of do the whole outer stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring awareness to the inner,
Mm-hmm.
to people, and that's something. And I know off camera we have talked about how you're starting to attract that type of people that want to do the inner healing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of explain to us how years back did look like? Did you feel happy, or did you feel that if you were just doing things just to kind of say it was working out for you, or just an experience that you kind of been like, "Ugh, I'm not meeting the people I want to meet"?
Mm-hmm. I think that really comes down to sometimes we focus so much on what we don't want to attract, but really when we focus on that, we attract that.
Right. Law of attraction.
Mm-hmm. So I learned to really just start. I read the abundance book, which helped me realize that, where it's like, okay, I really need to write and journal and focus on what I want to come to fruition. And I believe that if you're authentic in your work, and I'm not just saying like you go on social media and share that you're doing this or that. I mean, like if you're truly embodying and helping people and putting out there what, you're helping people, it's like that's what will start coming to you.
Mhm.
And I think, I went through a journey of life where it's like, okay, I'm doing this, but I hadn't gone through the journey myself yet. And now it's like, now that I have, I'm able to vibrate
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
attract that,
Like you doing your inner healing has helped you actually. Like I said, the 9 is going to see if you're really about the talk.
Yeah.
And it's really going to show in the next few years, because it kind of resets next year. Because it goes back to a 1. So this 9, it's the reason why 9s, people can be so scared of 9s, is because 9s, a lot of things are coming to an end, and a lot of things are coming to light. And that's what a 9 is supposed to do. It's supposed to fuck up everything so we can kind of go the right way, or continue another 9 years, 7 years
Mhm.
of the same bullshit.
Yeah.
It really is. And a 9 with a snake year, it's karmic. It's a karmic cycle. So either we start realizing what we need to, I wouldn't say fix, but need to get better at.
Enhance, change within.
Yeah. Or we stay the same for the next 7 years. Because right now, since we're in the Aquarius age, Aquariuses are also meant to fucking disrupt everything. Like, and I'm an Aquarius, so I vouch for that. We're very like, I'm gonna fuck everything up and I'm just gonna make it new again. Like, really, if it's gonna be a box now, it's gonna be a triangle. Like, it really is. Like, we're just gonna make it fit in that triangle now. Like, and that's why in the next 20 years, it's super, super, super important to set this intention now, because the Aquarius planet is gonna have everybody redoing, moving things, places that we never thought we could get to. And that could be a good spot or a bad spot. Yeah.
That, but I don't know if you ever paid attention to like the 9, right? So the 9, and then it comes out. So it's circle of life. And then you can continue to go into the circle of life, same thing you're doing every day, or change that, release the old, and then back up.
That's a good way to see it. I never seen it like that.
Which is wild, because even for me, the beginning of this year, I'm like, a lot like the same things popped up. Remember, I was telling you that I'm just like, that's like the definition of insanity too, like repeating the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, unfortunately, with that, you're going to have to break free from some relationships and people,
Yeah.
which is very hard to do. But it's just like, it's either that or you just keep living like life is
The
too
cycle.
short.
No, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's I always say that, and I've expressed it to you, and I always tell him, and I'm like, if it didn't work out with us, I really don't feel like I would want to go with anybody else because I feel like I've already experienced everything with him. Like I know what good love, great love, bad love, all the emotions of how the human as a couple can elevate or not elevate.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've already experienced that just being with him. And as much as it's like, oh, but you can find somebody and you can elevate and you can do this. Honestly, I would like to do my journey by myself next. Honestly, like just by myself and accomplish other areas of my life that need my attention, you know, and if it doesn't work out, I'm okay being by myself.
Mhm.
And I think that's also something that it's not that you're putting it out there or you're saying that these things are going to happen, but it's also acknowledging that I've already had such a beautiful experience with the current partner that I am
Mhm.
with that I don't feel like I need another person to like fill in a void.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what we do when we get in relationships. Fill a void.
Even friendships.
Even
too.
friendships,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, like a lot of those.
Either you grow together or you grow apart.
Yeah. And it's
That's one thing my dad always told me growing up, and I was like, that is so true. Like
now it's so true. You're like, wow, that made a lot of sense. Yeah. Now I'm using it. Look at me.
yeah.
Not that, but it's like yin and yang, right? Like for in a lot of Hispanic households, Hispanics like to twist a lot of those meanings. For instance, you could have mom and dad together, but unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have just mom or dad and be happy with one. And I think it's becoming more of a thing now in today's age where you either have your parents together, but they don't love each other. Or your parents would
What's
love
worse,
each other.
you know?
Yeah.
What's more traumatic, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You see, I feel that I've experienced a lot of lives in my life. Like every time I
Same.
could think of my life,
Yeah.
I feel that I lived so many different lives in just one,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
It's kind of weird when you think back at it, huh? You're like,
you're like, I didn't hold the fuck up. No, but
I wasn't
seriously.
conscious back then.
Yeah,
so.
no, yeah, because I feel that every part of my life has been so different that I feel like I've lived thousands of lives,
Mhm.
you know? And I don't know. I didn't grow up with my parents together very much. Like they were very unhappy. So I was able to see the unhappy but together. So I was able to experience that. And then I saw my mom alone. And it was like she was still very unhappy.
Mm,
So to me, it's not even about having a partner
that's
anymore.
yeah.
It's literally about the partner you have within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The love within yourself. The sanity within yourself. Because my mom, she tried so hard to be present, but how could she be present when she was going through her own journey and we were thinking that we were supposed to be her whole life.
Not only that, but just at a very young age too.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think about it and I'm like, dude, my mom had 3 of us at my age.
Yeah.
She had us all 3 together at 23. And I'm like, and we think and we grow up and we're like, oh, but my mom was all supposed to be all about me. But how can she be all about you when she's still figuring herself out?
Mm.
And she's not even happy.
And I don't think it should. Again, I don't know. I probably will get some judgment from this because I don't have my own biological children yet. But it's like, I believe that through the journey of being a mother, you are still your own person. And it's not just your kids. It's like, how can you show them to be the best versions of themselves if you're not doing that yourself? You are an
100%.
example for them,
But I feel like you are a mom at the same time, though, because you
yeah.
are helping Jay raise,
Yes.
his daughter.
Not that, but I like how you said that because I've met lots of millionaires who speak on that topic, and they always say, if you change your mindset from your partnership to a partnership with your child only, you're going to lose the partnership, the foundation you've built, because now
I forget who I heard that from, but I heard that it's all like the house, right? It's like when you build a home, you start with the foundation below, and it's mom and dad, right? And then you have the kids, and it's like if you lose that, it's like you're still a partner with who you made children with.
Yeah,
exactly. Like you're a team.
And that's one thing I learned very young was that, because my parents, one, my dad was way older than my mom. Two, my mom was really young. So I think about it and I'm like, I feel that one, my dad, he was in his 30s when he had us, but he already had other children. And I think a man really, especially when you haven't really sat down with yourself and really thought about the things that you have to do and the things that are not God willing. And as much as you go to church, because my dad used to go to church all the time, and he still does, but he's a better man now. He wouldn't notice his faults, and it was never really his fault. It was always just, it is what it is. Like the things presented to himself, but cheating doesn't present to yourself. Beating your partner's ass does not present by itself. Like,
and there's a lot of people that go to church and they're doing these things, and it's like, to me, that's like fraud. It's fraud.
It is fraud.
Don't be going and getting baptized and going to church every day. And you're doing, like, I'm not saying nobody's perfect, but it's like you should be trying to be better and learning from your mistakes.
100%. And
can't be throwing it back Friday, Saturday, and it goes saved by Jesus.
Throw it back if you want. Yeah. But like
Catholic, I mean, they have confession. So technically, you're going to just get crazy and then go confess.
No, but the thing is that, you see, when I was reading about the Dolores Cannon book, and she talks a lot about that, and she says that Jesus didn't walk the path of religion. He didn't like religion. The Romans hanged him and they were Christians. If you think about it, and it's so true. He didn't. He walked the path of spirituality. And spirituality is not thinking, I'm better than you, I'm better than him. Spirituality is about really being like, hey, I know you're going to do this to me, and I know it's going to fucking suck, because I can already see it and I'm going to feel it. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy the journey we have right now. Because eventually I know our friendship is not going to be forever, but I'm not going to judge you for what you're going to do. I'm just going to be here in the present and enjoy what we have today. And that's one thing we forget, is that I feel a lot of people in the religion, and this is not me to offend anybody, but this is just something that I saw growing up, is everybody thinks they're better than each other. And if there's a household and they're married and the other couple just got divorced, and like, did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, why did they get divorced? But honey, I don't need to explain anything to you. If I thought that was the best decision for myself and what's to come next, then I'm going to take that decision. And you go by the law of God, so you shouldn't even judge me.
I went through that with my divorce. I was like, sure. I don't want to disappoint people, or what are people going to say? And at some point I was like, you know what? Fuck everybody. And they're going to gossip anyways about it. So it's just like, this is what I have to do for myself. Like, what am I going to do? Live a lie forever to please other people that aren't even in my relationship? Or,
Yeah.
And the guilt with, I mean, there is guilt that comes with being religious with that
100%,
too, you know?
Yeah, and I like how you were conscious about that. So, Carissa, when was the first time that you felt you have awakened within? And what I mean by that is, when is it that you started to become more conscious and aware of yourself, others, and all the energies around you? And how did that help you see the world differently?
I would say that would have been during COVID. So much time to kind of sit alone in your own thoughts and like figure out life, but it was also a pretty dark period for me. That was right before my divorce, and I had planned on drinking a bottle of wine and falling asleep in the bathtub and not waking back up again.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and I basically didn't. I was fine. I woke up and I like hadn't slipped underneath, but it's crazy because I know other people have experienced this where it's like when you have like a near death experience or, there's something inside of you that changes.
Mm-hmm.
And, ever since that point on, I just felt more connected to myself and I connected with my purpose here.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you feel when you had done that, gone in the tub, you filled it up with water, and then you got the bottle, did you have any visions? Did you feel that at that moment you saw something, or do you feel that something greater from above kind of gave you that switch where you was like, hey, it's not your time?
I don't think so. I felt like there was like a dark energy, if anything, that was like putting me in that mindset to do that, I will say after that, it wasn't shortly after like my divorce, I went and took my Jeep out on a trail and I almost rolled over the mountain and died.
That's
And it was like weird because it's like, okay, was that connected to like I really should have rolled my car. Bindi was in the car with me and it's like something, I hit the gas and it was like something was there that I was like, there's a purpose. There's a reason why I'm here. Like, like I purposely tried to end my life and now an accident happened and it's like, okay, this is like proof that it is not my time to go anywhere right
That's so
now,
crazy. Yeah. And then that, oh, go ahead.
It's crazy. I once heard that a lot of us that go through traumatic moments in our life, the only reason for us to see is through something traumatic. So meaning if you were somebody who grew up abused, sometimes the only way you learn is getting abused. And that's not always the case. Obviously, once you become more conscious and aware, but I guess that relates more to those who have not fully been conscious yet, who are only conscious when something that triggers some sort of like response within you,
Right.
then they're able to see. For instance, I grew up most of my life. How can I say? I grew up most of my life numb, right? I always wanted to numb everything. I was a big, pothead growing up, alcoholic, and just mixing those two things up, it really numbs you, and some people can be like, oh no, like, it helps me, this and that. I was like, but in reality, you get sober and you stop doing those things and you start seeing the world differently.
Right.
Because those things are only keeping you at the frequency that it gives off. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with weed, but it's how you use it, right?
Yeah, what's your intention with it?
And then, same thing with alcohol. Like, what's your intention for? I'm sure there is maybe some benefit to it, but majority of people don't use it for that benefit. They use it for the benefit of numbing themselves, forgetting, blacking out, embodying the spirit of alcohol, which is Hebrew for alcohol, which turns out to be a flesh-eating demon.
Wow.
Yeah, he always tells me that. And I'm like, word up. I'm just kidding. No.
It's true though. You think it's like a lot of people fight or like, like there's, okay, maybe everything's happy at the beginning. Like when we were younger, before there was like a lot of things happening in our lives. But then as you become an adult and different life experiences happen and you're continuing those same routines, it brings something different out in you.
Yeah.
100%. And when you were talking about as you get older, I really don't believe that age is what brings you to an enlightenment. I don't think it is. I think the post that I shared on Instagram, I said we mature by lessons, not by age. And I feel that it's always the lessons until we learn the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can elevate.
cycle.
Yeah.
Those
Then
lessons will keep coming back to you.
And sometimes even when you already have elevated, they'll come back again. And they'll come back again to really see if you have already learned your lesson and to really see if you're not willing to vibrate that low again.
Mhm.
And it will continue because this earth, as much as there's good, there's bad.
Mhm.
But I really do believe that it's not by age, it's by lessons. And me just watching watching obviously my parents separate, that taught me very young, because I'm telling you, I can remember everything. And then 2, it was my older brother. And then 3, it was just the traumatic experience with my mom, you know. And I feel that that is why I feel so old, per se. You know, I just feel that I don't really feel that I need to go through too many times that same lesson, because I can kind of like reflect back like right away.
Mhm.
But that also came with my mom being very spiritual and my parents being very spiritual. And when I say spiritual, one, it was my parents actually took the time to explain to us what religion was. And I'm very grateful for it, because I genuinely do love church. And I think it does an amazing job on what they need to do. But there's also things that I also obviously disagree on and don't very much align to it. But I feel that that was my first step to knowing that there was something bigger than me, than just who I am today.
Mhm.
I feel that that gave me that faith to know that there was more, that there was angels watching over us, that there was
Yes.
gods and goddesses watching over us, that all these stories are not just stories, they're legends and they're lessons. And that's one thing I do appreciate about my parents, that they really did teach me when it came to religion. And I feel as we got older, my mom got into very much spiritualism, and she's the reason why I'm super spiritual,
Mhm.
because she got into like the Reiki, she got into all of that when she was here. So that really, once she obviously left, that really pulled me in, and I was just kind of like, hey, I need to do some work, and I don't know how,
Mhm.
but thankfully that's when I met plant medicine, and I'm very, very much grateful for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, guys, that was a lot of talking. My throat is
I wish people were more open-minded when it comes to religion. You know, it doesn't have to be so. It's like we go to church every Sunday, but
Mhm.
when I'm there, do I take every single thing and I'm like, law? It's law. No, it's like I take what makes me, I
Yeah.
feel, be a better person.
Mhm.
You know, and that's it. Really, it's
Yeah.
like
Would you, and you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable talking about like religion and all that, but would you consider yourself religious or spiritual? And, before you answer, you know, I would do want to start with saying that, I grew up, my family's pretty much atheists. They would claim to say they're Catholic, but they're atheists, you know, but, my family never really ever talked about anything in the Bible and any scriptures, nor that I don't even think they even own a Bible in the house. I've never seen a Bible in my house
mm,
besides the Bibles that was given to me when I went to Catholic school.
mhm.
But physically, my family having a physical Bible, I can guarantee you 100% they don't own one. And so, I went to Catholic school, and the school that I went to, I didn't really learn anything. Literally, when I went to this Catholic school, all they cared about was us being present there. But as far as them teaching us like the scriptures, getting in depth into the Bible, they didn't teach us that. And, I'm not shaming religion or anything. I'm just expressing my experience with what I went through. And with that, I didn't really learn much besides them wanting us to show up.
Mhm.
So then I was introduced to Christianity, and which, I love the Christianity church because they went in depth into the Bible. And a lot of things that they said, referencing the scriptures that would tell us, made a lot of sense to a certain point, to where things kind of almost felt like almost like a cult, right? That's kind of like how I started seeing things, that they want you to believe this, they want you to follow this, you need to go this way. And a lot of times the church will do things for their benefit, not off of scriptures. And it's kind of like they would express things in what they, I guess, perceive. And that's how they would want the whole church to perceive it. And so that to me made like a lot of started clicking in my head where like it doesn't really make sense. And then that's when I was, I guess, started seeking spirituality, which to me was seeking answers, truth, meaning, and the understanding of life, humanity, what we're going through. So, and to correct that, my family doesn't own any religious things. The only thing that they really own is the Last Supper, the painting of the Last Supper. And I don't know why it's like a big thing in like Hispanic families. I never really understood. I've always asked, but the answers I've gotten were always, they just like the painting, or they try to reference it as like, oh, it's very spiritual, but the meaning behind the Last Supper is, well, one, Leonardo da Vinci painted the Last Supper, right, to symbolize the final meal that Jesus shared with his disciples. And then in the dramatic moment when Jesus announced that one of them would betray him. So the painting is full of a lot of hidden symbolism behind it. And such as, betrayal, foreshadowing, even the spilled salt, which is near Judas' elbow. And I don't know if you guys heard the salt. I guess, spilling salt is considered like bad luck, or you throw salt over your shoulders, it's considered like bad luck. So there's spilled salt in the painting where next to Judas' elbow, which resembles, bad luck, loss. And with that is, it just led to a lot of things where, to me, that painting doesn't really resemble anything good, because it's resembling bad luck and betrayal. And we all, like, as somebody who, is getting more spiritual and learning about energies, to me, that painting brings the energy of bad luck and betrayal.
That's interesting. I don't think that. I really don't, because no. Because in the Dolores Cannon book, and it makes sense to me, I think it's a great representation of the world. At the end of the day, you're gonna have people that are gonna betray you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that didn't stop him from being Jesus.
Exactly. Yeah.
That didn't stop him from still giving them a seat on his table. To me, that represents strength. That represents resilience. That represents, hey, I know one of you are going to betray me, but here's a piece of my bread.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know you guys are I'm going to die tomorrow, but I'm going to enjoy my Last Supper here with you. And that's something that I was telling you earlier, that sometimes we know how things are going to work out, and whether that's with a partner or that's whether with a friendship, sometimes we just got to be like, hey, I know how this is going to end, but I'm going to enjoy this moment with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to enjoy it now. I'm going to enjoy it laughing. I'm going to enjoy this podcast with you. But at the end of the day, I know how this is going to end, but that's not going to stop me from experiencing the present. And that's, to me, that painting is really, truly taking in the present moment of what it's like to walk like Jesus, to be honest. That to me. And then maybe you see it that way because your parents never explained it to you, and they never went in depth with it, and they never showed you the power of Jesus.
Like I said, it's just everybody's entitled to their own opinions.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just how I perceive that painting because of the things that it resembled, right?
right. But to me, as much as
That's your
that, yeah,
opinion, yeah.
no, I'm like, as much as that resembles you, that resembles to you. To me, the strength part of it, of
Yeah.
being,
Well, I
being-
should say Jesus is part there as well.
Mhm.
But my thing was just mainly focusing on the outer things that don't get described, that don't get attention. Because
Yeah, I never knew about that part of it.
Because the only attention is just on Jesus' part,
Mhm.
but nobody ever puts the attention on what's going on around. And like life, right? You can walk out on the street, but if you're not aware of your surroundings, you never really know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
There could be somebody following you in a car, someone walking right behind you, and if you're not aware of the things around you, something can or cannot happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think going back to the Bible, because I would consider myself religious and spiritual now at this
Mhm.
point. But going back to the Bible, I had a really bad relationship because my grandma used to make me just copy out of the Bible every day. Right. And I was
That was
like,
my parents
I
too.
hate this. And I didn't learn anything from the Bible because I was just copying.
That's crazy.
But now as an adult, I just got my first Bible last year. And I believe that every person that reads the Bible and shares it with others has their own interpretation and can share that in their own way. So I think it's so important to read it yourself because I don't know. I just feel like there's been so many enlightened moments where I'm like, oh my God, this connects with this, or it just like helps me in life, and I have a better relationship with it now,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's any right or wrong way, but it's like, why not be open to it? And just like, I learned that in Christianity, like a lot when they describe verses and stuff, it's like they relate it to real life experiences, which I love because growing up in a Catholic church, that was not how it was. And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. And it's hard when you read the Bible yourself. Sometimes you read it and you're like, what did that mean? But then you read it again or, and something clicks later. So.
Yeah. Growing up, I don't know what it was with the Catholic church that they would make us go to, but
Yeah.
they would read a verse and then sing for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's Catholic.
That's crazy. You guys, to me, it was not like that. Like,
and I'd be like, "Where are the donuts? I'm just waiting for this to be over so we can get donuts and coffee."
That's what I told him. I'm like, I cannot believe you guys But then again, my dad was very like to the Bible, so
I'm sure your dad wanted to choose the right church to take you guys.
Yeah, no, he's always been about the right pastor. And as soon as he felt like the pastor was not good and not explaining how the Bible should be explained, he'd be like, we're not coming to this church again. And he would literally tell us that. Like, he'll be like, no, like, they're not even saying anything. He didn't explain nothing. Like, no, like, my dad wouldn't like that. Like, my dad was like, if you're going to learn about the Bible, you're going to learn about it right. And to me, like, I was talking to my brother and we were talking about the book that I'm reading, and I had showed him a section where it said that, the Essenes were people that walked the earth before Jesus did, but they were walking the way Jesus was walking. And they were just trying to bring awareness on the way. And I feel like that's very similar to what's happening right now, where a lot of people, the Essenes,
what is that?
They're like I said, they're people that were walking the way that Jesus.
Right, but who are the Essenes?
Nobody knows. You would have to. They were just people that would live in a community. They would all share food together. They would all kind of like live together, and they live like far away from Jerusalem. But they were practicing like what it was like to be like Jesus. They were spreading the word, but they would not spread it too far because then they would obviously either get killed or whatever the case may be. And he had said that it brings literally, this book literally brings in religion and spirituality together because he literally talks about the stars, and then he talks about people that were born before us, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to know about aliens, but even the Bible talks about beings that were not there. And I had
spiritual beings, giants.
Yeah. And I had told my brother about it, and there was this part in the book where it said that they did not believe in pretty much going to a temple and praying. If not, they believed that the temple was within. And he had
I
shared
believe that. It could
yeah.
be. Nobody has to go to
No.
church. It's like if you can.
Sit there with yourself and really, open your heart. And he had shared this verse where it said, I'm probably butchering this really bad, but it's Zechariah 6:12. And he said, "Behold the man whose name is Branch, for he shall branch out from his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord." So the man builds the temple. So the temple is his family, his kids, what gets into their heads,
The values.
the values. This whole book talks about, literally, it gives you verses and it also gives you both. It gives you the religion side and it gives you the spiritual side. And I'm just like, it's all connected, and yet we're still fighting over the same things.
I know.
It's so sad.
I've had clients that come in and they're like, I'm like, "Oh, do you want to do the meditation or any healing work?" And they're like, "No, I'm religious. I'm Christian." I'm like, "Oh, it has nothing to do with that. Like, it's all within and doing your own journey. And if you are religious and you also want to pray to God, and then that's your journey. But to each their own. It's like accepting all for what they believe in.
Exactly.
And,
that's how how I see life. It's accepting everybody.
Yeah.
You can't obviously change their mind, make them see your point of view, but you can understand their point of view. But it doesn't necessarily mean you need to believe everything that they tell you and to, do things their way.
Acceptance. If we had more of that in humanity, it would be a different place.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the first spot everybody struggles with.
Accepting.
Acceptance.
Let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, I
Literally.
to this day have a struggle with accepting a lot of things in my life. But it's really just being like, I can't do shit about it. Like, I really can't. The only thing I can do is keep my house clean. That's literally all I can.
Why? Because otherwise, you know what that's doing internally to your body?
Yeah.
It's like the snake wrapping around the saw. It's like you're literally killing yourself inside by stressing out about things you can't control.
That's why I was like, you know what? It's okay to have a little meltdown, but
let it out.
Let it all out, you know? But just so you want to continue so we can close it out.
You got a couple more. What is a belief that you held on to strongly in the past that you since then changed?
It's a tough one. You caught me there.
She's like,
what's a belief that I had that I've let go of?
And that could be literally
anything.
That could literally be staying with your partner because it was your partner, your first marriage.
Yeah.
That could be that. It could be anything, literally.
I guess before my awakening and awareness, it's like I kind of just thought people were the way they were, or they're angry because of this, or they're sad, and now it's like I let that go because I know it's so much deeper than just that. Like now when somebody, like this woman in Target the other day, I had my dog, we were walking down the aisle and she's like, move your dog. And I was just like in shock, I'm just like, the old me would have like gotten her face and like said something, but then as I walked away, I was like, there's something deep within her that is like, that's why she's treating people like that, because she's in pain. So now I've accepted people in that way. And I guess there's more awareness there.
Sympathize with them.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you?
And
It's a tough one.
This question was not supposed to come back to me.
It's a round table. We're asking everybody.
Honestly, I think it's about letting go of perspectives, letting go of what I think of you today might not be who you are in a couple of days. It's really letting go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, letting go of trying to do that first impression. Like, I might not like you, but that doesn't stop me from maybe later on in life, me getting to know you, because it could be different. But
Maybe there's something when you meet that person that's mirroring something you need to work on that's triggering you.
Exactly. Goldie, go over there. She's pulling the shit out of me. Sorry, guys. Malfunction.
But I love that, though. I've never.
Yeah, it for me is really, really coming to like we meet people and we're kind of like, stop, like, oh, but I met that person and that person was like this, and that. But that doesn't mean that in a couple of months and you re-meet that person's going to be the same, you know, because we all grow and we have the privilege to grow and become better. So, sorry.
You said perception?
Perceptions, yeah. Perceptions or
Yeah,
perspectives? Yeah,
perception of
perspectives.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goldie, girl. Sorry. Go over there. Go. Get your booty over there. Yeah, it's just about having those perspectives of people and thinking that just because you met them that one time means that they'll forever be that like that, you know? And it's just allowing that resilience of like, as much as I'm allowed to change, they are also allowed to change. So that's something that I've really learned throughout my time. What about yourself?
For me, it would be expectations. Oftentimes we grow up, you know, especially like the way I grew up, our family always had expectations of you knowing how to read their mind. And, you know, I guess when I was numb before my awakening, I have embodied that of always having expectation for people. Like, oh, you know, if so-and-so's here, I expect them to do this. Or if I'm with my partner, I expect them to do this. And when I finally like had my awakening, I was like, expectations kill, you know? We can expect because it's something that we want, but we are our own humans. The other person is their own human and they're going to function the way that they function. And it comes down to accepting that and not really having expectations for somebody else, because the way I see things is at the end of the day, you're in your own journey and the only vehicle you can really control is your own. You know, if I'm driving on the highway, I can't control the person next to me's car.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's a Tesla and it gets hacked, and then.
Exactly.
But other than that, I can't control someone else's vehicle because that's their vehicle.
You know, it's so funny how you were saying, well, it's not funny, but it's pretty cool. About expectations. I was talking to her about ayahuasca and I was telling her that the first thing that ayahuasca has ever taught me was not having expectations, because the moment you have expectations, she will not show you anything.
Yeah.
Like she will not show you nothing. You can sit there and be like, why am I not seeing anything? Because at the end of the day, you're not surrendering. You're not surrendering to the fact that you shouldn't have expectations for another human. You shouldn't have expectations, not even for a medicine. You should not have any expectations. You should have a intention for everything, but you should not have an expectation.
Yeah.
And expectations are greedy because we expect to get something out of it.
It's like the ego speaking in behalf.
Yeah. And I believe that's what ayahuasca does. It completely gives you an ego kill, where it just like, you want this expectation, you're not going to get it because that's not what you need. And today is where your expectations die. So that's literally the first thing that ayahuasca taught me was expectations and surrendering and not having, as much as you want to have expectations for others, you shouldn't have expectations for others and not even for yourself. You should really just have an intention and move forward with that intention.
Yeah.
And I love that intention part because it's like, his name, you told me about this guy.
Oh, Joe Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza. He talks about like, if you don't have an intention with your daily habit or whatever you're doing, like that's when car accidents happen. That's when bad things can happen because you're not setting out the intention. You're not putting the vibration there. So the universe, God is just like, okay, well, this is what we're going to give you since you don't have any intention.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. But anything else you want to add?
Yeah. We'll do one more. If you can have an honest, non-consequential conversation with one person, living or dead, who would it be and what would you ask?
How'd you pick that one?
She's like, fuck. Where is it at? Oh, you could have an honest, not.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Think about it.
I'm like, hold on, my brain.
She was
Me
like,
personally,
I'm ready to go to sleep, guys. It is almost 11 p.m. Shiva, all of
but
you.
me personally, I would probably have a conversation with Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing, wisdom, magic, and the moon. And I would ask him, or I'm not sure how he would classify himself, but I would ask to show me and explain to me the creation of the world and humanity. I believe we as humans can only comprehend what we can perceive. And at times we can only see, like I described earlier, past our nose, right? So, I believe indefinitely that there is truly much more to this physical realm, which, I've had the pleasure of experiencing much higher, in a higher conscious, in a meditative state that just has my mind blown away with many questions to reality. And I've had the pleasure to astral project. I haven't been able to experience past lives, multi dimensions, and believe it or not, even projected to the top of the Mayan temple. And I believe it can be maybe tied to a past life of mine. Not too sure, but yeah, I would choose Thoth, the Egyptian god.
Me next? She's like, yeah, definitely you. You're up, buddy. Me, I would definitely love to speak with Dolores Cannon because I genuinely love the stories behind remembering in a conscious, unconscious way under hypnotherapy. And I would want to know what was the mission she didn't accomplish here and how as humanity we can obviously be able to accomplish that mission that she was brought here to do, and to really bring more awareness to that type of work. Honestly, I'm just infatuated by her.
I think she accomplished her mission. I think her mission was to, do what she did, which is the hypnotherapy and expand the human consciousness.
Yeah, that was one, but I feel like there was
different awarenesses.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot more to it, only because I've connected with her, and I feel like there's also times where different human beings have to take the next torch because as humans we can't do everything. Like I said, we have to do it together as a tribe, and whether it's spiritually or physically, we all have to bring in the missing puzzle of what's next.
Yeah.
Have you finally thought about somebody?
My past self, past life stuff, because it's like I haven't really gone there yet, but I've had like a couple meditation experiences where like I've seen myself in the jungle.
Oh yes,
like an Indian woman, and I've had babies before, so it's like I would like to talk to my past self.
Past life.
Past lives, yeah.
I like that.
Maybe we'll do it.
Because we choose to come here to learn lessons. We choose this life, so it's like I want to know.
Yeah,
But
the reason that we're able to remember everything when we go under really deep meditation or etc. is because everything is happening at the same time. So like that moment, that moment that you think, like that was a lot of information and my brain cannot. No, like just as much as we think it's because we already experience it and we're experiencing it in real time. And the reason we can connect to it is because now this version of us is going through that cycle again. And we're able to kind of go back because it's all happening at the same time. Because now we're like, where is this coming from? Well, because another version of you already went through this.
Mhm.
And now what they want to do is they want to give you the knowledge so you can stop going through it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, whenever you get a chance, you should check out James. He's the guy who did our past life regression. I think you'll
Connect.
connect in the
He's really cool. He's gonna be on our podcast.
Yeah, it's been calling to me since the book,
Mm-hmm.
the audiobook that you recommended.
Yeah. Yeah. He what's it called? He's the one that got us all into past life regressions, but definitely
yeah.
but
We'll be closing out here shortly. We do have a few rapid questions for you.
they have to be one word.
Oh, one word, okay.
Well, not one word, but just
One
however you want to describe it as.
Okay.
But what is one piece of advice that you believe can help humanity?
One word. In one word. Okay.
It doesn't have to be.
Just do
I'm
one
trying to
word.
make it hard. Just whatever you feel.
You are loved and you have always been accepted in this life, and you deserve to find your gifts and your purpose here. So just take that time to connect with yourself and know that you have always been accepted in your journey.
I like that.
Me too.
Real deep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice.
She's like everything.
One piece of advice would be to stop numbing and just kind of walking through life, to really like connect that there's more to life than just numbing your past experiences.
It's more like going through the numbing
Yeah.
instead of
And that it's okay, like those dark periods of your life are what elevated you. Like they're not negative, it's not bad, it's just a part of your story.
It's more like just face reality and don't avoid it. Like that.
Yep.
And is there a book that you've read that has helped you and you believe that it can help somebody else?
There is a few. Louise Hayes, her books are really good, and there's one that's Heal Your Life.
Heal Your Life.
that sounds nice.
It's good. It talks about like after negative affirmations that we've said in our heads that have caused illnesses, tumors, cancer, whatever it may be. And then it tells you what you said, and then it tells you the new affirmation to tell yourself to heal those areas in the body.
Oh.
Nice. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
You said heal yourself?
Mhm.
All right.
I like that.
Cool. Well,
All right.
can you let the audience know who you are
Where to
and where
find
they
you?
can find you
Mhm.
and where they can book a session with you?
I am Carissa with Fair Skin Beauty, and you can find me through my IG handle. Basically, from there, my website is there, bearskinbeauty.com, and you can book an appointment through there, or my contact info is there as well.
You repeat that again into the mic. You cut off a little
Oh, I
bit.
did. The whole thing.
Yeah.
He's like that.
So you can find me on my Instagram handle, Bearskin Beauty. My website link is connected to that. And then through the website link has all of my contact, my cell phone, email address. And then you can also book an appointment from there too.
Sweet. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. I hope that you sharing this helps people one soul at a time,
Mhm.
if that's what we're here to do. And may you continue to service the world with your wisdom, with your presence, your knowledge, just who you are as a person. And I hope that people can experience that you're definitely a different type of esthetician than your regular esthetician, and how your work is not only healing somebody externally, but they're healing internally. And they don't even know it, because I feel that your hands have a way of doing that. And I don't know if you ever noticed that about yourself, but I've noticed it because I've sat there and taken care of this pretty face of mine. And definitely recommend you guys to book a session. Check her out. We'll put the links below. And if you guys have any questions, any concerns, you're more than welcome to reach out to her, and she'll answer any inquiries that you guys may be needing. But thank you, Carissa. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you for being on the pod, Carissa. And we hope to maybe have another pod with you again.
Yeah, it was
We
fun.
were able to
I love
maybe
podding
something-
with you guys.
Yeah, me too.
we've been able to get through everything. So maybe on the next episode we'll get through a lot more things.
Yeah, go a little more in depth.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
All
guys
right,
for
thank
tuning
you.
in. Thank you, Carissa, for being on the podcast. We appreciate all of you guys supporting us and that are watching. And you guys, we appreciate if you guys would help us out with subscribing, hitting the like button, commenting on Waking the Minds, and sharing this with a family or friend. We greatly appreciate that. We send you guys nothing but love, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And thank you again for your support. Y'all bless up, and we'll see you guys back on the next episode. See you guys on the next one. Adios.
Bye. So let's awaken the minds together.